Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Exchange. My name is Scott Morgan, Roth Motor City Madmouth. Glad to have a nice crew on hand today. I want to welcome for the first time on the Sports Exchange, Kerry Johnson. Welcome to the broadcast.
Well, thank you for the invite.
You're very welcome. Best known for Chicks and Salsa and Three Chicks in a Pot, along with Candy. So we have two of the four amigos in the house. Okay, that's great stuff. We'll get Jennifer on and make it on at some point. Yeah, Cyruski, welcome to the show. Candy Eveling on here all the time. Oh, great stuff.
Thank you. Good to be
And,
here.
and Willie Epting is back. Glad to have him back. And finally, Mr. Pundit, Jacob Christner.
What's going on tonight? Third show, and I keep on going, keep the energy up.
What's going on? We have a busy agenda tonight, so let's get to it. I want to make sure everybody gets out on time, and that's exactly what we're going to target with. But we're starting with a real big broadcasting update, and you come from FS1 canceling their morning slate because of poor ratings. The shows that are being actually canceled are the facility with Emmanuel Acho, LaShawn McCoy, James Jones, Chase Daniel, Breakfast Ball, Craig Carton, Mark Schlereth, Danny Parkins, and Speak with Joy Taylor, Keyshawn Johnson, Paul Pierce. So I'm going to get to that first. I know that Joy Taylor has been a part of some sexual harassment allegations. I'm not going to get too deep into that because I don't want to realize that Fox's morning slate has always been in question, anyways. They're having a very difficult time competing with ESPN. But Joy Taylor is certainly one of the big names involved in this, Kerry. What's your take on all of what's transpiring at FS1?
I would say that Joy was brought to the network for the ratings, and then with carrying her name and her legacy, her father's legacy. So I feel like that kind of was a main reason to have her have a show, is to bring the ratings. It also has brought some drama, and we know that even on ESPN they drop those with drama pretty quick. Especially when it's with sexual
harassment allegations.
harassment or indiscretions.
Right.
Not sure how we want to go with that, but I feel like that was something that was, when that started coming out, I'm surprised it's taken this long that they did something about it, but I do feel bad. I've always liked Keyshawn John, and so kind of sad for him in the fact that he brings an interesting view, and I always like listening to his commentary, but it's a little shocking, but not surprising.
All right, Candy.
Let's face it, ESPN did the same thing and shook things up and let people go, at some points throughout the last couple of years. They let go some of the highest paid people. Some people say they were good. Some people say they weren't. I mean, every station, every network is going to do that from time to time. They want to get more ratings. They got to sometimes shake things up, and sometimes it's the people that we like that are getting let go, and sometimes it's the people that deserve to be let go. It happens in business all the time. That business is hard cut because it's ratings driven. So it's popularity. It's finding the right combination to compete with all the other choices that people have.
Willie.
Yeah, I agree with what everybody else has said in terms of the ratings and all that. I, for one, I never really was a Joy Taylor fan. Yeah, I understand that she has a certain look that a lot of people like.
Right.
Keyshawn, he's okay. I did like James Jones though. He was pretty cool, but I think we should look at this just a little bit deeper though, because the old stigma, especially when it comes to to females who are really, really good at this job, they take it on the chin because of people like Joy Taylor and what she has alleged to have done.
Right.
So my hope is that what she has to have alleged to have done does not set the female audience back or the female professional back in this particular space because of what she has alleged to have done. So there are so many talented young ladies out there. We got 2 of them on here right now. There's 2 others that you mentioned earlier, Scooter. I have several of them on my team as well. Right. So I think it'd be up to people like us to make sure that we shed the light on the positivity that the females bring to this business.
Couldn't agree more. Jacob, let me also add light to what you just said, though, before I bring on Jacob. Yeah. Jason Whitlock pretty much feels the same. His comments are unbelievable. You got to hear this. Says, Joy Taylor got her break at FS1 by using her body and her P power. Okay, that's pretty strong stuff. Willie, you want to react to that statement?
Jason, can I say something first on this? Willie, can I say something on this first?
Yeah, by all means, go ahead.
I don't trust Jason Whitlock as far as I can throw him. I can throw him 2 feet, because 1 foot maybe, because he's so big. Yeah. But I'm not a fan of Jason Whitlock, and it's like he's gonna, and he can be right or not. Let's put it this way: he's lost trust from both the conservative and the liberal side. Right. No one trusts the guy. It's like he lost Ben Shapiro's trust. If you lose his, that's telling you something. But here's the biggest thing about it is she got those allegations. Joy Taylor did. Then this is a theory of mine. Now I'm saying this, I don't quite know on this, but I have a theory on what happened to their ratings. She got those allegations, and then she said that she doesn't like any guy who's overly churchy or whatever, however she said the deal.
Right.
Thing is, people think these people that are in these coasts. I mean, remember, Carrie, do you live in Kansas City?
No, I live in Southwest Missouri.
You live in Missouri, though.
Yes.
These people that have these coasts, the New York, LA's, that's 21% of the country, something along those lines. They think that that's the whole world. You get a Missouri, you get a Nebraska, you get an Iowa, you get all those. Those are all watchers. Those are all church-going people. They don't want to hear that kind of stuff. They don't want to hear it, no matter if she's really good at what she does or not. But this is the thing also. This is the different type of media. She, just like anybody else, just like Stephen A. or just like anybody else, they'll blow it away on a podcast if they want to do it that way. They'll get the people, because podcasts allow you to give it. I mean, by itself, the big thing is say that there are people that like Joy Taylor. There's just quote unquote not enough. They'll say based off the ratings, but there's a lot of people that will listen to a Joy Taylor alone. There's enough that will listen to a Stephen A. alone. All of those. That's the big deal with it. There's right now, what's going to be replacing the thing on Fox is Dave Portnoy. He's already going to be signing. So Portnoy is going to be signing. They already made the news on that. But Dave Portnoy already has podcasting and stuff like that itself. This is just adding extra to it. But she could just add her stuff right now. She can add her stuff right now. She'll get her audience. That's just the way it is.
Great stuff. Anything else you want to add?
All good. Go, I'm sorry, Will.
To Jacob's point, Bass Pro is 40 minutes from my house in Springfield, Missouri. I worked at Bass Pro when the Uncle Buck calendar, if you're not aware of that, was rivaling Sports Illustrated swimsuit calendar. Only it was around outside sporting events. And yes, I live where when you land at the airport, you hear the belt buckle of the Bible Belt. So things like that don't fly well in the Midwest. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Well,
that's one way to hang yourself in the Midwest.
Okay. The one guy I actually feel for in this whole thing is Mark Schlereth. Candy and I met him at the Super Bowl in Miami at a tasting event. Mark's one of the nicest guy you'll ever meet. I now, as I understand, he still will be able to do his games, calling his games. And he's only 10 months into the show, then they let it go. So I hope that Mark lands something else. But Mark Schiller, to me, is one of the classiest people I have ever met in my years in the business. That's for Jason Whitlock. I have no respect for the guy, and I'll leave it at that.
I just roll my eyes every time I hear his word. Go ahead, Willie. I'm sorry.
Yeah, let me. Can I chime in real quick?
By all means, dude.
Listen, Jacob, I hear what you're saying, and Kerry, I hear what you're saying about the demographics of the location of where everybody is in the country. I understand the demographics of politics, either being a conservative or liberal. I don't give a rat's rear end what political affiliation you have. I don't give a rat's rear end if you are a conservative, moderate, liberal, Whig party. I don't care. There's only two standards of two bars of standard that we should judge anything on, and that is right or wrong. Period. So while these people who are claiming to be these Bible carrying, gun-toting, scripture-quoting people are the same ones that periodically are the same ones that hate people that are a different color than they are. So it doesn't matter to me what part of the political spectrum you're on. Now, in terms of Joy Taylor and all the rest, they're going to be fine. I mean, they're going to go out there and they're going to get a couple of sponsors, and they're going to start their own podcast, and they're going to do all this, they're going to do all that. And we're really witnessing a shift, a real-time shift in how the media is and how it's being handled in terms of from an organizational standpoint. So Jason Whitlock, dude, we spend too much time on this particular subject, wasting our breath collectively and individually. Just when Scooter said Jason Whitlock, that was too much time right there.
I was agreeing with that. I can't stand.
And you know what?
None of us can stand him.
And you know what? Here's the thing. Thanks to you, Willie, you intercepted any more interaction on Jason Whitlock that I don't really give a darn about him either. But let's talk about some potential successors here at FS1. Interesting names. Tony Reale worked extremely hard on Around the Horn. He's a really big workaholic. Did a pretty good job. Max Kellerman is being considered, and a lady by the name of Kay Adams. So, Willie, I'm going to start with you on this. What are your thoughts about these three individuals as potential successors?
I love Kay Adams. She knows her stuff. I was a little surprised when she left Good Morning Football, but I understand it because she did the same thing without getting fired. So I'm a real big fan of hers. And anybody that's doing it the right way and they're not throwing anybody else under the bus or having clickbait type of material, right? Yo, I will support them even if I don't agree with them. For instance, I don't really particularly care for Stephen A's takes on a lot of things, especially when it comes to the people that look like me and him in our community. I don't really appreciate a lot of his takes, right? But I can respect it because of what the passion that he brings to the table. And he does somewhat do it the right way, but as long as you're consistently doing it the way that it's supposed to be done, I want everybody to win.
Willie, you said this about Stephen A. Stephen A. is already thinking politics. Let's just be very honest. He's trying to get votes. He's trying to get votes for the future in 4 years. Right. He's gonna go for that. That's why he's talking like that. That's why it's there. But you brought up the replacements, Scott. You got to remember, I just brought up Dave Portnoy. He's gonna sign with FS1, so he's gonna be one of them. Right. And it's like, and Dave Portnoy is one of those people that do that do what you don't like, Willie. Mm-hmm. He's one of those that absolutely does that. But like I was saying, though, I know what you were saying with politics and all that, Willie. All that, I see what you're saying with it. What I'm saying is, like, when they bring up, what a lot of these people that live on these coasts, when they live over there, they think they have the thought process all the time that they are the only ones. And boy, Carrie was correct on that. The belt buckle of the Bible belt. I love it. That was a good one. And it's like, I love that. And it's like, they had this thought process that those are the only ones that matter. We fly over these states and they're the only ones that watch. It's like, you can't do that. You have to atone, whether anybody likes it or not, for every watcher, everyone that watches, and all that stuff like that. And the biggest thing is, Joy Taylor knows what she's doing. She knows what she's talking about. You watch her sponsors, her ratings. You watch all those go up the minute she gets a podcast. But she gave an out with the ratings, with the way that she was talking about, I don't want anybody that's completely churchy or whatever. She gave the out for anybody that didn't like her because she was black. And there are ones that are like that. There are ones that are like that, Willie. You're correct on that. There are ones that are like that. But she gave the out to those idiots by saying that, because they gave them their own excuse.
All right, let me go over one or two things that I think is important. Hey, Joshua Dora, I know you guys are talking in the chat about specific things, so I want to make things abundantly clear here. We're not talking politics per se. We're talking about individuals that are politically doing specific things. So I want to preface that by saying, number two, Max Kellerman got run out of ESPN because of Stephen A. Smith, and I thought that was a bad pairing to begin with, because Stephen A. Smith, in terms of his flamboyant, polarizing figure, was way too much for Max Kellerman, who's a very highly educated person, and he was never on the same page or even in an intelligent conversation with Smith. So how that partnership lasted as long as it did is anybody's guess. But I think Max could succeed at FS1. It all depends on if there's any non-compete clause that's in existence. And two, Tony Reale's a hard worker, and Kay Adams, you guys did a pretty good job summarizing. So Josh, I want to make it very clear that you have some interesting comments in the chat room. I just don't know, as far as I'm concerned, what they're going to do in terms of what we can provide to the show at the current moment, unless you guys want to look at them and address them really quickly. But I think I've tried to clarify it as much. Candy, if there's anything worthwhile to bring up, do it. But I want to move on to the third topic, because I know a couple of people, we have to make sure it's all time sensitive to keep them on for all the topics that we can. Anything that looks interesting, Candy? But as far as the 360, and I want to make sure Carrie and Candy get an opportunity to talk about these successors, and then we'll talk about one more ESPN program that went off the air. So I don't know who Chris Turk is. Does anybody know who Chris Turk is? Good. Okay, Ross, you got no heads here. Okay, no heads. Chris Turk off the table. Thank you very much. All right, there you go. So with that said, I don't know what your question is to Jacob. Okay, so rephrase it. Jacob can handle you. He's dealt with you before, and he'll deal with you again. Or your thought? All right, we don't care about that. Okay, non-applicable. So yeah, all right. You got a smirk.
Did you see my face? I could care less.
Yeah. It's called nonverbal communication, but we didn't ignore you. All right, Candy, give me your thoughts about the potential successors. I noted them out: Tony Reale, Max Kellerman, Kay Adams.
So to be honest with you, I don't watch a lot of morning sports television because normally I'm working or I'm sleeping and stuff like that. So I'll be honest with you. I'm just, I work at. Do I think
sleeping and working? But go ahead.
Is there a place for them? Obviously, now that they're letting all these other people. I remember seeing Kellerman on ESPN, and kudos, give them a second shot. Give them a shot on this other network. Sometimes you get hired for a job and it's the wrong place, the wrong time, and it's the wrong situation, and that's when you fall because hey, you're the one that's going to take the blame and you're the one that's going to get cut. It's kind of like some of these coaching jobs, these one and dones, or these short coaching stints where there's no, they don't give them enough time to develop the team. We've seen some of that in the coaching field. The same could be in the broadcast field. Was Max the right person to be matched with Stephen A? No. So kudos, let him hire him, and let's see how he does, on a different platform.
Hey, Josh, I'm going to stay with this one more time. The Chris Turk conversation is done. Period. We move on. Carrie, go ahead. You have the 3 names I mentioned.
You know, Max is the reason why I started watching the Stephen A. show to begin with. So,
Okay.
I like his intelligence. I like that he can play the devil advocate and the proponent. He can give you a more complete view instead of a. Stephen A. is a very passionate, and he picks a point, and that's the point he stays on. Max can give you a more well-rounded. I liked Max, and that was why I started watching Stephen A. I was disappointed when Max was taken off ESPN completely. So I'd like to see him have a show. As far as a woman, I have a few that I know, name recognition, but I don't watch FS very much, FS1, so I don't have the depth of names there. But I hope that the female that they go with promotes women in the industry and shows up with a work ethic that is not based on sex appeal and that the sexual aspect. I think it's more important for women in the sporting industry to show that it's not just about us having the sex a part of it. It is our passion, our knowledge, and our views do have a value, and that's important to me. That's why we have our 3 chicks and salsa is so we have a voice. We can present our take because it is a valid take.
I'll give one extra to Carrie. Let's just get chicks and salsa on FS1.
Hey, listen, I want to have one of those contracts so that I get paid every. Mm-hmm. I want a bonita day, but we can have it. We can call it chicken salsa day for the next.
But I say no. I'm just giving it to say, Carrie. Here's the deal. This is the thing I say with this, and I'm just saying this in the biggest possible respect, Carrie. I say this part here. Have an all women show. Or don't, or the thing is based off the thing, or just give the thing. Because there's ones they'll add the woman onto the thing, and they get overwhelmed completely by a lot of powerful men voices. They get themselves overwhelmed. It's like you get to this whole thing. It's like let's have the women's show. Because that's going to be another crowd. They have all women bars now for sports. Let them have it. Go for the thing. It is obviously showed that they're watching them. It's obviously if they're having women's bars for sports, and there's like 4 states now that have them, it's obvious. I used to say before this happened, put it on and see if it sells. It's sold. It is. So bring a women's show on there. It's obviously showed that it'll sell.
Oh, I agree. There's a lot of intelligent women out there that go out there and bring a lot to the sports industry. I could do another show on how many great ones are in sports women. If you get my book, if Candy's going to go to a station break in a few minutes, you'll see the Mrs. Epting. FS1 should be shut down the way it's being run right now. I can tell you can make a very good case for that comment because what they're doing in the morning is absolutely awful. It really is, and they need to get it figured out. If any of these options are viable, that's fine. So one thing about Max Kellerman, his big strong suit happens to be boxing. Anyways, he's one of the better boxing analysts out there. And he does real well with it. Let's continue onward. ESPN did air its final episode of Around the Horn. Will anybody miss that show? I'll lead off with you, Carrie. Did you ever watch it?
Yes.
What'd you think of it?
I don't know. It is a great show for one-liners. Right. I mean, it's an entertainment that way. Was it a fact-based show? I mean, the people that were on there were very knowledgeable, but I think that was more to let it. To me, it always came across as a comedy show as opposed to. And maybe I had the wrong take. I don't know, but it was a comic relief in the middle of sometimes very dense shows that sport dense shows. So it was kind of an easy on your brain type show, I guess.
Okay, well, that's fair enough. Candy, I don't know if you ever watched it. Did you ever watch it once in a while?
Very rarely. I mean, I can say, though, that it did have a run, and its run was for more than 2 decades. That says a lot in today's sports arena and in media and stuff like that to last that long. It must have had some good qualities in it.
Well, Max Kellerman was the original host, and then Tony Rally took over. So I'll leave it there. Willie, your thoughts on Around the Horn?
Yeah, I watched it every now and then. Usually that show would be on when I was on my way home from work.
Okay.
So I didn't really get a chance to really check it out consistently until, of course, the pandemic hit.
Right.
I thought they were the regular guests that were there. I think they had great chemistry. But like Carrie said, it seemed like a show it seemed like almost like a game show to me.
Okay. All right. What about you, Jacob?
It's fine. I remember the days of Mariotti, and everybody hated Jay Mariotti. I mean, I mean, people did it, and they all root for him to lose. But winning and losing on there is kind of like whose line is it anyway in professional wrestling. The points don't matter. People got their thing, and it was kind of a joke. But it had near how many, like 3,000-4,000 episodes, whatever. You know what I mean? It had its time. I mean, whatever the thing was, good for them. It's like you almost want to get rid of it. You almost want to let it go on a round number, but it had its time.
Yeah. Here, I'll give you my take. I probably have the strongest take of any of it. Number one, I know Bob Ryan is a good friend of mine, and I had Jay Crawford on, and I talked to them, and here's what I ended up getting. To me, okay, Around the Horn remind me of Highlight. It's fake. You know why? Because all these things were predetermined ahead of time, and even some of the people told me that they had to get out early, so they say some stupid stuff, get voted off the show, and boom. That's what I think of it. To me, pardon the interruption, it's the best show on that, way and above. Got Tony Kornheiser and Mike Wilbon, all of whom I both met them too. Great quality journalists. I'll never forget when we had the Damar Hamlin situation, and you had Tony Kornheiser and Mike Wilbon were the only ones that knew about Chuck Hughes' death. So as far as I'm concerned, as far as Around the Horn, good riddance. I couldn't stand it. It was fake like Highlight, and that is my take on it. And I knew a lot of the people on there. Now I'll say the only thing I liked about it was they did have a lot of quality sports writers from around the country. Nobody's going to downplay what Woody Page is like. Tim Kalishaw. These are good, strong journalists. Jackie McMullen's another one. Bob Ryan, and the list goes on and on. Willie, is there something you want to add to that?
No.
Okay. All right, let's continue on. And that's this. Okay. The Paris Olympics obviously was a big success, and it brought in more advertisers than the 2016 Rio and the 2020 Games. NBC gets this, okay, makes a $3 billion deal to lock up the Olympics to 2036. Wow. I mean, you talk about NBC putting an investment into the Olympics. Judging by those deals, Willie, what are your thoughts about the deal that NBC made?
Yeah, NBC has the market cornered when it comes to covering the Olympics. I mean, they're the best, and there's a reason why they're getting $3 billion pumped into whatever it is that they do. I'm a firm believer that if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
And even if it's slightly cracked, just put a little glue on it. It'll be okay. And NBC obviously has the everything that they need in order to make this thing go. And for them to be able to garner that type of a deal, hey man, kudos to them.
Yeah, really. Like I said, that's one sport they have it. They know how to cover major events with the right commentators. Jacob, your thoughts about what NBC pulled off here?
You know why NBC's the best at the Olympics, Willie? And everybody else, I was going to say, you know why it's the best? It's because you get by itself, and I'm just saying this, if you do CBS, you're dealing with Paramount Plus, which only way that you can get sports on that thing whatsoever is if you pay extra for it, which is an absolute pain in the butt. ABC, if you're doing something like that, I remember that was the one where they used to have Wide World of Sports. All they got is ESPN, and you don't want to deal with ESPN with all of the layers for the Olympics. NBC has Peacock. NBC has about 4 or 5 different as far as you got to remember, you got to have all of those the streaming things spread around to be able to get them. They have all of them. NBC does. so they can be able to get onto the Olympic. It's not just NBC anymore as far as the thing. It's all streaming networks. That's where the thing goes. ESPN streaming network is still not perfect. And everything else that I talked about is paid behind a paywall. The only thing you do on an NBC thing is the Peacock once a month. You can, for everything you get, you pay for it, you get the Olympics. So they have that option, they have that strength. So that's where that is whatsoever. And once they get this deal done, they're going to, as long as ESPN, I mean the ABC and Paramount Plus CBS continue the way they are, NBC is going to dominate it for years.
I don't know if we should be hashtagging Chris Kirk, but George Boris Racho, and guys, if you're listening, says he could also sell his rights to recordings for billions. Okay, well, add a little light to it, Josh, and the guys, if you're listening to that, you got another Chris Kirk person. None of us are aware of this individual. And George is on target. Yeah, Brian Williams is great for the Olympics. He's legendary on it. There's no doubt about that. Willie is right. Bingo. Off to Candy.
NBC boasted that it had an average of 67 million total viewers per day across its broadcast, cable, and streaming platforms for the 2024 Olympics. Why wouldn't they push to keep going and keep going? They do it right. They've done it consistently. Kudos to them. You know, it seems like each of these major networks have certain sports that they feature. NBC does the Olympics and they do it well. So I'm glad to see them shoring it up for a while. I don't know that another network could do it the same or have the same amount of coverage. I always like when they do the little, interesting stories about going in depth about the person and, not just the sport and showing the sport, but they go back and they tell you a little bit behind the scenes of how they got to where they are. And I enjoy those little tidbits and those little interviews and stuff like that. So I think NBC does it right. So I'm glad that they're going to do it through 2036.
Yeah, and in the future episode, what we're going to do, I can't say which one, Willie. I'll keep everybody posted. We're going to be talking about the new NBA partners as well. That's something that's inevitable that we'll talk about in the next couple of weeks. So I want to bring that up, and I want to make sure we address these things first. Carrie, your thoughts about NBC ponying up to the Olympics?
Well, is it the Olympics without Bob Costas?
Right. Yeah, good point. Good stuff.
So if you don't have Bob Costas, you can't do the Olympics. So
he's old now.
well, so am I, but my entire Olympic, my entire life watching the Olympics, Bob Costas was the Olympics. So I just, I mean, that's the one thing I can tell you that I think about it. And I'm with Candy. They find the way to get the tearjerkers in there to capture and bring a little bit more than just watching competition on the screen, but putting the person, making it a person on the screen, not a number or just an athlete, but give them depth. So,
well, maybe you'll have to find a petition to get Bob Costas to baseball when it's out in LA, right?
There you go.
He loves baseball anyway. Bob Costas is really good at baseball. I'm happy for NBC. Now I'm also happy I get to put in my non-sports topics. That's one of the interesting segments of the show. And we're going to go to a nation break. Then we're going to go to my town. Willie's going to be talking basketball on his own and baseball, which I have a feeling parting shots are going to be with Mr. Epting. Anyway, that's okay. He wanted baseball. He'll have an opportunity in the next 15, 20 minutes to talk about what he wants. Non-sports topic for the night. Japan toll system. Get this. Crashed for 38 hours. Officials let cars pass freely and asked drivers to pay later online. Guess what? 24,000 people dead. What about that? The honor system, maybe? What do you think? Anybody have any comments on Japan's toll system?
That's Japan. That's Japan. It's like they pick up their own trash after they get it on the street. The street is absolutely impeccably clean, and it's the people that do it, not just janitors. They have a complete honor code over there. Complete all that. I mean, every little thing. Their training for martial arts is second to none, and then they have what they call young boys to do all the cleanup on the mats afterwards and everything. It's like everything is meant for honor. Everything is meant for a better life for everybody. It's a different world than it is in the United States.
Don't worry, if you like this non-sports topic, you're gonna like the next one too. But what do you think, Willie? 24,000 people pulling up. Not so bad. Anybody have any quick thoughts before we go on to my second non-sport topic? Or everybody clean on this one? Everybody
Good to go.
Just not
All right.
surprised in Japan. People that happened in Japan, and people were paid on the honor system. That fits the culture.
Oh, good. I have an even better one now. In Japan, students do not take formal exams until they are 10 years old. The first 3 years focus on character building and good manners, with teachers prioritizing values over academics. I had to pair these two up. What are your thoughts, Terry? You like that? No exams until you're at least 10 years old? I hated them even when I was 20.
Well, I'm a teacher, so I have a little bit of yes. I think that it's okay to test a product off an assembly line, but education is not an assembly line. Although I will tell you, and so I'm going to excuse myself preemptively on this because it's been a while since I've looked. But Japan test that first test they take changes the academic path. However you rate out on those first series of testing they do, it takes you on a path.
Okay.
So they don't teach everybody the same thing in a all-encompassing classroom.
Okay.
One path is those that will be the backbone, the working industries, and that the other one is going to go for the academia and things like that. So they have two paths where, in most other cultures, we educate everyone the same, and it's all inclusive in the same tract.
Okay. Great
And
stuff.
she's right on that. I've been a tutor, a mentor. I just coached basketball for kids. I've done it twice now on that. I just finished my coaching thing on that. They do that. The reason that they're able to get away with that in Japan is because the parents are exceptionally educated. Yeah, and there you go. I want to make sure she saw that.
Hey,
Hello,
Eddie. Glad to have you back.
But yeah, but it's like the parents are so educated over there, and they will be teaching the kids themselves anyway. So it is better that they learn the character things from school and do all that stuff. And if they're passing those tests at the 10-year-old level, they've already been taught well at home. And
Great
I
stuff.
wish that America did that kind of stuff with it in the first place. No one is. The only thing I've not taught is in the classroom. I've done everything else. And knowing that I've done some kind of one-on-one or with people or anything like that, I absolutely wish that they would do something like that in the United States.
Great stuff. That's why these topics are in there, because I'm here to educate any different way that I can. And these two just seem to fit tonight. Candy, your family obviously is teaching. What are your thoughts about Japan's methods?
Yeah, I come from a long history of teachers. For those of you that don't know it, my sister is a teacher. I have a sister that's an academic advisor at a college. My dad was a teacher. He started out in middle school, ended up in high school. But it even goes back further than that. My grandma actually taught in a one school in the old days, in one of those one-room schoolrooms where you taught multiple levels. So I come through for a lot of history of teachers. Character is something I don't know that you necessarily can teach. I do agree with not testing at a young age, because I think that sometimes puts too much pressure on kids. But I also feel that different kids learn at different intervals and at different rates. Some kids, it takes longer. Some kids pick up things. Some kids have more common sense. Some people are more book smart. So whether you can do that starting at the age of 10 and find out where their level is and how they learn, I think that's one of the most important things, is how do we get through to some of the kids and how do we teach them on their level and not just put them in a big group and say, okay, everybody's got to learn at the same rate, at the same pace. And I get that, because you only have so many teachers to teach these kids and stuff like that. But it's not easy teaching. I've had conversations with my sister. She lives in Nashville, Tennessee. Not down here in Miami where you'd have a lot of, but she actually has, and I would say in her class of, if let's say she has 20 kids, 14 of them speak English, but the other 6 don't even speak English.
Right.
Now she only speaks English. So for her to try and relate and teach these kids, it's very different and very hard. And so somehow we've got to figure out a way to teach everybody. But I do agree that testing before the age of 10 isn't necessarily what we should be doing.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are unanimous on that, aren't we? As we move on, for the most part.
I had 7 languages and taught or 7 conversation languages that were in my classroom of 32 children in 5th grade.
Wow, no kid.
That's pretty cool.
Hey,
I can't even get past. Yeah, go ahead. Well,
yeah, my wife is a 33-year vet in the education field. Carrie, thank you for doing what you do because it is a thankless job.
Mhm.
For education in the United States or for academia in the United States on the level that we're discussing, as soon as it becomes more about education rather than finance and politics, then we might be able to have some sort of good standing in the world like we once did.
Hey, Willie, can I say, I'm going to give a partial answer to you of what you were saying with something like that. Here's what I would love all over as far as education with it. I would want every single kid in every school in the United States to learn how finances work. Every single one. And I'm talking about microeconomics, macroeconomics keep going up. And I would do every single thing on something like this because the greed comes when the few have the knowledge. When everybody has a shot and they all have a proper diet and they all have a shot at the education, they have all that kind of deal like that. We have more of a competition and then we have less of what we see. But when you have the greed is when you have the few. That's like I wanted to say what you were saying. I wasn't saying you were wrong. I was saying few people know how money really works. How about teach the world about money?
Yeah, but the only pushback to that though is that you start scaring the quote unquote elites.
Good.
For whoever or for whatever reason they believe as though just because I might be getting it, that's going to take away from them.
Oh, okay, good. This is the thing about this. It's not true. There'll still be plenty of rich people in the world. That's not true whatsoever. I'm saying good. It's like I'm stubborn like that. It's like because this is my theory on why I say this is this. If we teach you and give you every tool and you're still not getting there or you're still struggling with money, then that's not you, I'm just saying, but I'm saying that's their fault. The people on it. That's their fault because we gave that to you. But when there's not the education and there's the few that I don't care about the elites. I'm going to say because there will still be wealthy people and plenty of them even when we do the teaching. They're playing that whole fear, but just like every politician does on both sides. They play the fear factor and they play all that. I'm stubborn enough. I want to see everybody. We're going to see. Let's play a new world where we see everybody having that knowledge, and we'll see who comes out.
all right, for those of you that are watching, Eddie Prather has some good comments. I'm going to just repeat them real quick. That first, teachers, emergency workers, and military are severely underpaid and overworked. No question about that. The one above it says some kids learn better from visual learning. I'll tell you, I learned better a lot of times visually, whether you're a kid or not. And then, of course, he talks about FS1 speak was the only one, and that was the one that entailed martial arts. Eddie Fraser, every time he puts a comment in there, it's outstanding. All right, Katie, we're going to go to a station break real quick. I want to make sure that Carrie gets an opportunity to talk about her town and some parting shots, and we're going to continue to move the show along. Everybody, I've enjoyed your takes, especially on this non-sports topic, because we're talking about the honor system and teaching. Those are very important things that the society could use a lot more of, and that's why I wanted to bring them in this show because I had a pretty well-rounded group here tonight. So go ahead, Candy, quick station break, and then we'll continue to move this thing along.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. Talks about his 40 plus years in the industry and how the industry has changed, old school media versus new school media. It is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content, so go check it out. If you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, I do not know why you haven't yet and what you're waiting for, but please do so. And then hit the notifications too. We're going to start this weekend. We're going to start putting up some of the videos that we took when we were on our European vacation. So you want to get notified so you can come see the beautiful scenery that we saw. We would love to share it with you. So hit that subscribe button. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to advertise or sponsor a show, you can call Scott 954-304-4941. If you want to be a guest on one of these great shows or have some topic ideas, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. Back to you, Scott.
All right, thanks. All right, these two topics are going to single out carry on so that we can get her out on schedule. Okay. First of all, what's going on in your town? We have a My Town segment. Anything that stands out that you want to talk about in your town, Carrie?
We're a typical rural area with access to, a metropolitan type. I say metropolitan, but after being on the East Coast a lot the last 2 years, Springfield is not what I would call a metropolitan, but here we are.
Anything sports related you want to get out in your town?
No.
Okay.
No, I mean, hometown heroes is always, everybody's got their hometown heroes, and there's been a bunch come through recently, and then there's a couple of very talented young men that play baseball that I would love to see. Two of them are just going to be juniors, I believe, and they are playing on national teams and national traveling teams. So I would hope that someday that those names get to make it even to the big stage.
Okay. Secondly, you have any parting shots about what you want to talk about sports? Anything that bothers you?
Me, no.
Oh, she does all Carrie. All right. Well, then here's what we'll do before we let you go. I want to let everybody know how they can get a hold of you and all the things that you're involved in. Carrie, I want to thank you very much for joining us on tonight's edition of Sports Exchange. You talked about some really interesting topics, and I hope you enjoyed your experience on the Sports Exchange.
It was I very much enjoyed it. I'm part of Chicks and Salsa. We have a Facebook page. We have Twitter account. We have the X account. You can find us on Facebook. I'm never. Listen, Willie, my son, that poor child, I didn't have Twitter. I joined every social platform. I didn't have Twitter when he did, so I was tweeting out the window, and he would lock his car window so I couldn't roll them down, so I couldn't tweet. He'll always be Twitter to me. I'm Carrie Johnson. Find me. You can send me a friend request. You can follow me, whatever. Send me a message. I love to talk about football. I love to be down and dirty. I love to talk about your viewpoints. So football and Chiefs are my favorite. So peace out. Thank you for the invite, gentlemen and Candy.
Thanks, Carrie, for being on, and I'm glad that you're a great teammate with Candy and Megan and Jennifer. All you young ladies do an outstanding job. And we're glad that you're part of our extended family, Carrie. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And you all have a great evening. Thanks for bringing me on.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you. All right. So now there's 4 of us. Now we know what we're talking about. Lily, what's going on in your town?
What is going on in my town?
Right.
I don't know, man.
You don't know.
I don't know. No, seriously. Not necessarily in Dallas, but in my town of Fate, Texas, which is about 40 minutes northeast of the city. I have resumed my football coaching career with the youth. There's a team here that
Willie, the Utes. The Utes.
There's a team here that is in their is going to be in their first season. One of the founders, or the I guess the coordinator of the franchise, lives in my neighborhood. He had put something out on Facebook. I said, "Yo, do y'all need any volunteers?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, I coached Pop Warner football in Oak Cliff, Dallas for, I don't know, 7 years. My 07 team went undefeated, and we lost in the championship game. And I would love to be a part of it. I'll fill out any forms that are necessary." And he said, "Yeah, come on out. We need you." So I went out there on Monday, and I'm looking forward to getting back into that space.
Beautiful. I like that. Jacob, what's going on in your town?
Let me do it. I've been on this my third show, so if you don't mind, I can do all the carries.
Yeah,
But,
that's fine. We'll do yours in rapid fire.
I'm gonna bring this here. As I said, my town was Atlanta, and guess what? The All-Star game. I went to the All-Star weekend. The festivities. I was in the little batting cage. Got to get some little hits out of the softball machine, that kind of deal. Which is kind of funny because I saw a lot of people swinging and missing, and the athletes are not there, and the fans. But it was a fun little deal, and it was a fun little situation. I went to the All-Star. I went to the Home Run X thing, which we stayed for one part. It was all the old timers from different teams and stuff. Ryan Zimmerman, and it was let's see, I'm trying to think. Ryan Klesko. Ryan Klesko is like 54, so he swings like 71-year-old Arnold Palmer with a golf club. But he still has power. He just has no hips left. But it's kind of fun. And then they showed the softball girls, then they everything like that, and if you ever see Home Run Derby X, they move up about 30 feet. So it's like it's less power to take the home run, but it's for the older people and everything. They wouldn't have as many homers if they were in the same spot. You just don't have the same strength anymore. So there was that. But okay.
So let's go here. So with that said, you have an opportunity to combine pundit, and your parting shot.
Yeah, that's all going to be the parting shot tonight. And Willie, we were all having a great conversation. We had a great conversation about the whole thing with FS1 and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So I'm going to bring this. I was having a good conversation with a buddy of mine tonight about WWE. We just had it about it, and this is going to have something to do with the FS1 thing. And I'm bringing this here. During the summer of 2020, remember the summer of love? All that stuff we already know the whole thing. I'm not going to bring the politics part up, everything. WWE, all of a sudden, after all the years, pushed a lot of the black athletes to the championships. You know the whole thing, how the thing works with the script, with everything, with how they do all that. But they pushed them all to their little titles, to everything. And then when everything quieted down, they squashed them out. Went right back to the status quo. Okay. And the thing I think about when it comes to FS1, you do everything like this, is I think this happens with media. I think it happens with entertainment. I think it happens with sports. I think it happens with everything. I think it's disgusting. I think it's phony. And I think it's everything. If you're that good, Joy Taylor, I brought up, she's going to be huge with podcasting. She'll get a couple spots in media. She'll be huge with podcasting. If you're that good, it should be no doubt that you make it. And I'm talking about in whatever you do. It's like, and I brought up wrestling tonight. If you're that good and that athletic and that everything, it should be no doubt. One wrestler really made a couple of them. Here's The Rock. We knew him, but guess what? He is Samoan. We're just saying. I'm not going to count on a thing. And then there was a guy, and you might know the name, Willie, Booker T. But he was just that damn good. It's just like the thing is, what I meant by that though is a lot of the black athletes. There has to be like Booker T. Let there be no doubt. It is kind of like Dusty Baker. Let there be no doubt. He's always, if he wanted to get out of retirement tomorrow, he'd get any job he wants. Let there be no doubt. The black population, and I'm not doing this for any pander, I'm just saying that the truth. To be able to get the jobs, there has to be a let there be no doubt. I put that as a hashtag. They have to have a let there be no doubt that they're going to get themselves hired and get themselves pushed and get themselves to be a star. Where it's that thing. I think that's wrong in the case. There are so many good ones out there. Golf had a guy named Lee Elder during Jack Nicklaus's time. 12 titles. And he had to deal with when he would hit a ball out of the bounds, they throw it out of bounds. And then they would have to have someone be able to prove it so he wouldn't get a penalty. We're human beings in the end. We're human beings in the end. We need to stop this phoniness. I don't like saying this, but I'm saying it as a truth. If you want the star people around, just put them on. The best, the very best, black, white, everything. If you're gonna put an all black the deal, then do it. If you're gonna put an all white deal, do it. But quit being phony. The world is phony, and that's what I don't like. And that's my pundit for the thing. It's phony. The world's phony. It's like we don't need that. We need to start treating the world. And I mean, that's how we're going to get the conversation running. Is we're going to quit being phony with the whole thing. Oh, I have a black friend. That's what the equivalent this is right now.
Wow. Okay. Great stuff, Jacob.
No problem, and I got to get myself going because I've gone 2
That's okay.
shows.
Well, we'll be in touch tomorrow. So meanwhile, Candy and I and Willie will take the show home. Thanks.
Willie, it's good to see you again.
Take care, my friend.
You bet. Take care.
All right.
So here's what we're going to do. Candy, give us what's going on in your town. I'll do it, and then we're going to talk about parting shots, and then we're going to let Willie and I and you, Candy, end the show on the basketball stuff, because I think the basketball stuff is good, which is why I really wanted to carry it over with you, because the topics are that strong. Okay. So, Candy, what's going on in your town, my town, or whatever?
So let's face it, right now there's not a ton happening. The NBA, the Milwaukee Bucks are trying to figure out who's going to be on their team, who's not going to be on their team. They made one of the boldest moves, I think, ever in the NBA, letting Damian Lillard go and letting such a big contract go. What I want to revisit, though, is the city of Green Bay came out now with the results. And when I say the results for the 2025 NFL draft. I want to revisit that. The economic impact that the actual draft had on the county, not just the town of Green Bay, but the county, $79.9 million economic impact. They said 362,588 unique visitors experienced our amazing city. 82% rated Green Bay as an excellent host city. Total attendance over the 3 days was over 600,000 people. They're saying that it generated $104 million statewide in economic activity. So kudos to the towns that will never get a Super Bowl, and it won't because it's outdoors, it's cold. But this shows you that some of the smaller market towns, or the towns that will never get Super Bowls, what kind of impact putting the draft and moving it around to these towns will have for those towns. So kudos to the NFL for doing that.
All right, Candy, let me have your parting shot. Willie will have his, and then I'll comment on the two, and then Willie and I and you will take it home with this basketball. Go ahead, give me a parting shot.
My parting shot was kudos to the three Brewers that were in the All-Star game last night, not only for their performance, but Trevor McGill and Freddie Peralta both honored the late Bob Uecker, and I thought they did it both in unique ways that was really cool. So yes, Freddie Peralta, when they stood up and they write on the cards, I stand up for, and Freddie Peralta put Bob Uecker, because as you know, Bob Uecker died January 16th after a 2-year battle with small cell lung cancer. Trevor McGill, actually on the inside of his jacket, he had a little patch, and it had it had Bob Uecker's most famous line from Major League movie, "Just a bit outside," and it had his signature on it, and that was inscribed in the jacket that he wore to the game. And I just thought those were both different tributes and just a unique way to honor the late Bob Uecker.
Very good, Candy. All right, well, let me have your parting shot, please.
Yeah, I can dig that, Candy. And Bob Uecker definitely was that guy that was certainly a little eccentric. My parting shot does have to do with baseball because I think there were 72 million. No, I don't think it was that many, but let's just say it was a lot of people that watched the game last night, right? And even though those numbers were down from last year, I love the evolution that baseball is at least attempting to do. I thought the challenging of the balls and strikes with the automatic strike zone, I thought that was fantastic. I look forward to them actually implementing that in the future. But for Kyle Schwarber and Brent Rooker and the rest of those guys and that swing off to end the game, I thought it was marvelous. And yeah, even though the score said 6-6, the National League actually was able to finally get a win. They're only their second win in the last 12 tries, I want to say. Right. So yeah, that was huge. And I thought baseball did a good job putting that whole thing together.
Well, I think they actually changed it to 7-6, as I read later up, that's what the score is going to be. I don't know. If they did, that's the right move. All right, I'll give you a couple of mine.
Scott, can I quick comment on Willie's?
Yeah.
So the 2025 MLB All-Star Game held in Atlanta drew 7.2 million viewers, making it the most watched All-Star event across all sports. The game's viewership peaked at 8.1 million viewers during the 9:15 to 9:30 Eastern quarter half hour.
That's good stuff.
Okay, there you go. Score, I think it's 7-6. I haven't looked. I'll have to see when I look at it later. All right, couple my way. My town takes you to Tallahassee this week. Florida State hired Luke Laux, who's only 34 years of age, to replace Leonard Hamilton. He spent 8 to 9 seasons as an NBA assistant, 5 with Steve Kerr at Golden State Warriors. I'd like to hire to bring in a younger guy. You have High Lucas, I believe, in Miami. So they're getting younger at major colleges. That's number one. Secondly, my parting shot, we need more stories like this. OKC Thunder Jalen Williams is retiring his parents after signing a $287 million extension. Both of his parents served in the Air Force. We need more stories like this. I'm tired of all the negativity. We saw a lot of them on tonight's show with consistency, with the way the Japanese are getting it right in key places. And now Jalen Williams, kudos to this guy. It really is. And I'm happy for Luke Laux. Now let's go to Willie. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit of basketball. I carry these topics over because I thought they were that good. And Willie is my most sound basketball guy that I have on staff, so I value his opinion. We're going to start this way, Willie. Before we left, the Buss family entered an agreement to sell the majority of the ownership to Mark Walter, the CEO and chairman of Diversified Holding Company, TWG Global, for $10 billion. Jerry Buss purchased the Lakers for $67.5 billion in 1979. What are your thoughts about that purchase, Will?
That's a pretty good return on your investment. RIP to the very great, late great Dr. Jerry Buss, Jeannie Buss rather.
Right.
Had done a fantastic job with keeping the thing going. I know she had some issues with one of her brothers. I can't remember which one it was. The one that took over the team and just ran the team into the ground. There was all that period of time where the Lakers didn't even sniff the playoffs. In comes Jeannie, and she turns things around, makes some great draft choices, get some good free agents in there. And the Lakers actually have won the championship in the last 5 years after not having won since Shaq and Kobe were there, or since Kobe and Pau Gasol, the late great Kobe Bryant. So look, if you want to learn how to get a huge return on your investment, I would suggest you follow Jeannie Buss on all social media platforms. And
Great.
she looks fantastic too, by the way.
Great. Well, yeah, no, she's adorable. I'll say one thing. Phil Jackson had great taste, just couldn't close the deal. We'll leave it at that. Okay.
Yeah. Well, he's eccentric too.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, I was trying to be nice about it. Eddie Prather, good update. Now we don't have to mention on future shows. Bradley Beal goes to the LA Clippers. There you go. So there's your news item of the day. We're talking basketball. And once again, Eddie Prather with a timely take, piece of information. Great stuff. And he keep it going. Two more I want to get to. Ron Harper, obviously, blast today's players for being selfish. It's all about what they do. It's not about what the team does. Harper has an issue with today's players not knowing the history of the game. Do you agree or disagree with that one?
That's kind of a broad brush to paint. I wouldn't say that all of them are like that, but I will say that this is definitely a different time. And I'll tell you this about how I just have this huge disdain for the current state of basketball.
Okay.
I remember a time when there were no super teams other than people drafting people and making an occasional trade. That's when the front offices and the ownership groups controlled who actually became or who came onto a particular roster. This is the reason, Scooter, this is the reason, Candy, and everybody in the chat, why I say LeBron James will never be the GOAT. It is a foregone conclusion, and it should never even be mentioned again. It will never happen.
I agree with you. I don't think LeBron James would ever be the GOAT either. I have my reasons for it. Maybe we'll bring it up as a topic when we have more time to talk about it. Candy just mentioned a new item. 8-time Pro Bowl pass rusher Von Miller. Okay, announced Wednesday on Instagram that he's joining the Washington Commanders. Okay, then. And then, of course, Eddie Prather says, like the Lakers in the late 70s and 80s, couldn't agree more. They were a complete team then as well. So, last basketball topic of the night, Willie. Indiana Pacers assistant coach Jenny Busek is only one of 15 women coaching on an NBA team. She coached in the NBA Finals and obviously raised her daughter as a single mom. I applaud the woman. What do you think about Jen?
Man, if she's listening or watching or what have you, I would love to get her on our celebration of women's history series of shows that we do every March. This cannot be highlighted enough. And it goes back to what we were saying earlier about the ladies being more than qualified than a lot of the men in what they do. And we have to make sure that we keep the spotlight on the ones that are doing it the right way. And, you know, the definition of integrity is doing the right thing when nobody is watching. And you don't get to the heights that these people get to by doing things in a shortcut manner or yeah, I have this saying, you know what, you better be careful when you are trying to get to the top, because if you're doing it the wrong way, the same person that you stepped on getting to the top is going to be the same person you passed going back down. And she obviously is doing it the right way.
I would do, Willie, if I were you, if you're that interested in having her a guest. Here's what I would do. I would contact the Pacers, let them know about your media group and let them know the amount of followers and the reach that you have. And if you find the right communication person, I don't see any reason why they wouldn't get this woman on your show and show them how committed that you are to talking about them. I've dealt with PR people before, and a lot of them are generally pretty good. So the first thing I would do if I were you, when you get up the next day or so, is go on the Indiana Pacers, IndianaPacers.com, find out who the top communications are, send them a sincere email, and the strength of your platform, which we know is awfully good. I mean, your Twitter accounts are strong. We know how good you are on LinkedIn and Facebook. And just say, hey, I have a great, and then what you might want to do, though, is this. Refer to what I talked about with Jenny Busek on this show that prompted you to give the idea that you want to pursue it a little further. Those PR people are always welcoming this type of good publicity, and I don't think there's any better way than to have her on your platform, because I've been on your platform before, and it is unbelievable the amount of work that you and your wife put into it. I mean, you do it first class. So, I mean, as a friend, Willie, okay, and bro, I would do this. I think you would really hit a home run with this particular topic, but go through the Pacers and send them a good, well-written email and say how strong your platform is. You got wind on a show that you are a guest on that carried this topic over that was on 2 shows last week and then this one, and I held it over because I wanted you to talk about it. So it got attention twice, last week and then this week. And keep me posted as what kind of response. And if you need my help in any way to help you secure the interview, you know how to get a hold of me. Text me any way you want, and I'll do everything I can to help you get on, give you guidance to do it. But the Pacers have always been a classy organization. I've been there a couple of times many years ago. I think their PR people are gone now that I've dealt with. But generally, the NBA is looking for this kind of good publicity, and Jennifer Busick is definitely doing it. So, yeah, please pursue it, Willie. I think she'd be dynamite for what you guys are looking to do. And you have the followers and everything you need. Just go out there and write the letter, and I can help you. I'd love to do so.
All right, man. I appreciate that. Thank you so very much.
Oh, no problem. Well, I appreciate you being on every Wednesday night. So with that said, as we get ready to wrap up the show, we only have one person let us know how they get a hold of us. And one thing, I'm hoping that I'm going to get Willie's opinion on this before we go to wrap this up. I'm kicking the tires about doing a hockey expansion show with a guy by the name of Clifford Neal on this. And it will be a one-topic type of show where everybody on the panel can talk about it. Is that something you would be interested in participating, knowing that Houston is the type of team that might be looking to get a team out there?
I don't know anything about hockey.
Yeah, but you know about geography, don't you?
I do know about geography, yes.
Okay, well, then you're qualified.
Okay. I would have to make sure that my schedules are aligned. As a matter of fact, I just sent a text message to my team earlier today. I just counted that we have 10 shows at any given point during the football season. So,
this is the type of show I would make happen in a couple of weeks. You don't have to worry about that.
Okay,
I'll do that right away. I wouldn't even dare to touch it during football season with this one. This is the type of the year I dare you. Yeah, I go out there and take the gunslinger approach. Just mention it to you. And that's one of the things everybody out there that I'm looking at is I got a guy who's actually a professor at Towson State University in Maryland who's actually follows this stuff real well. And I did a one-on-one. I just want my crew to get a piece of the action as we start to talk about Houston and Atlanta being the 2 primary places. I got that out there. With that said, Willie, please let everybody know how to get a hold of you. I'm looking forward to next Wednesday's show with Willie. He always brings something to the table, and I love having him on as my co-host on this show. Go ahead, Willie. Let him know how they get a hold of you, my friend.
Twitter at SHKBKMEDIAGRP. I have to do it like that because they would not let me spell it out. Instagram, Shakeback Media Group. TikTok at Coach Willie. Don'tJump.net is our life coaching practice. My wife Patrice and I are certified relationship coaches, mindset coaches, and transition coaches. Shakebackgroup.com is our sports website, and we got a myriad of things coming down the pike. As I said, I just sent a mass text to my team, and we're about to get some things going for the NFL and college and high school football season. So looking forward to all that.
Great stuff. All right. Well, also back in the chat room, LeBron James, I find it hard to believe he'd even make my top 10 players. I just have an issue that there's a lot better players than LeBron James in my top 10. Won't debate that. And I'm also disappointed that Mark Jackson hasn't gotten a head coaching job too. That's another story we've talked about before, but I'm glad Eddie brought it up tonight. Candy, take us home with the final station break as we get ready to wrap it up. And we have a doubleheader on the network tomorrow.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, tuning into the enduring wisdom of visionary leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. It is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. Go get your copy today. It talks about how the media business has evolved and changed over Scott's 40-plus years in the business. Wow. The stories he tells, you got to get the book today. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great other content as well. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. Monday nights, we talk baseball. Tuesday nights, we talk football. Wednesday nights on Sports Exchange, and on Thursday nights on Fire. You never know what you're going to get. So tune in to find out. And then Thursday nights on Sports Wrap, he talks hockey. So tune in to find out more. If you want to advertise or sponsor any one of our shows or all of our shows, call Scott 954-304-4941. And if you want to be a guest or have topic ideas, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. I do also want to do a little quick plug on the Chicks podcast, which is 3 Chicks in a Pod or Chicks in Salsa. Check us out Tuesday nights at 7:30. All females talking sports. We love it. Yep. And one last thing, Scott also does Motor City Mad Mouse Show, which is a one-on-one interview show. Last week he did an interview with Mickey Calloway, the former manager. So go check out that as well. And then go check out all the people that are on our shows. A lot of them have their own YouTube channels. They give us their time for free. Go check their channels out as well. Subscribe, watch, give them likes, and then hit the notification buttons for all of these, because when we go live, then you get a notification and you can watch and you can chime in the chat room. We'd love to have you in the chat room, and thanks for all the people that were chatting with us tonight.
Yeah, we appreciate participation. Yeah, one thing about Twitter, which is great, is that's how Willie and I met anyways, is on Twitter. And we've been great friends since. So I'm glad to have Willie as my longtime teammate. Anything I can do to help him as well as all the people working with us, we certainly go out of our way to do it. We view this as a family atmosphere, and we try to keep it that way. With that said, that does conclude this edition of the Sports Exchange. On behalf of Kerry Johnson and Jacob Christer, Candy Ebling, and Willie Epting Jr., my name is Scott Morgenroth. Thank you for joining us, and we will catch you next Wednesday on the Sports Exchange. And we have a couple of shows tomorrow. Good night, everybody, and God bless. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye now.